Hey, what's up, everyone? It's me. I'm back. So, in 1999, the tail end of 1999, as shared in um, another video log, aka vlog of mine, of my nuked all clearism, legacy, legend, epic history, glory, um, Odyssey, Star Wars, Star Trek, Lifetime, storyline, all of it. I went to New York City, New York, with $1,000 in cash, my U.S. Army issued duffel bag, which had clothing items of mine, a guitar inside of a guitar case I couldn't play a lick of, and oh god, and I checked into an international hostel on 103rd and Amsterdam Avenue, right next to Columbia University. And in that time, in just 4 weeks, I was proposed to by the great-granddaughter or granddaughter. I say great-granddaughter because I don't know exactly which of the two. I have to look it up. Of Misaki, of Kawai Musical Instruments Company. So her great-grandfather, most likely, and or grandfather, created the first synthesized keyboards out of Okinawa, Japan, I believe in 1915 and 1922. I could have that wrong, but between 1915 and 1935, he was mentored by Yamaha, of the company Yamaha itself, and then started his own shop and formed and founded Kawai. Okay, I already said that in another video log, so let's get to it. So that happened there. I think I was there from the tail end of 1999 to the June of 2000 AD. And even though I couldn't carry a single note with any sense of perfect pitch, couldn't play a chord, did everything by ear, I somehow formed a band of really talented musicians, all from Avenue A in the Lower East Side of New York City, New York, while I spent most of my time there inside of Alt.Cafe, one of the very first 3 wireless pre-internet cafes, right across the street from, Alt.Cafe was one of the very first 3 pre-wireless internet cafes of the entire planet of Earth. And it was directly across the street from Tompkins Square Park, the legendary historic Tompkins Square Park. So in that park, I have another video log where what appeared to be a homeless man playing a plastic recorder flute that was yellowish, kept telling everyone in the park that I was the face of reality and the face of the end. In that park of Tompkins Square Park. He's the face. Do you know who's sitting here? He's right there. He's right there. He's the face of reality and the face of the end. He's the face of reality. He's the face of the end. So in Tompkins Square Park, people were looking at him like he was out of his mind. And he kept saying, "You don't understand who's sitting there." And it was me. And he was pointing at me. And then I almost got upset. And then he looked at me and he started playing his plastic flute while staring at me, and then he left. So you had that. I got a job as a personal assistant to the head of financial services for MetLife Financial out of the MetLife building facing Madison Square Garden. I did a lot for someone that was only there for several months. It's astonishing. I spent a considerable amount of time in what's called Washington Square Park and in Tompkins Square Park and inside of Alt Cafe. I befriended students that were attending NYU, which is right next to Washington Square Park. I even crossed paths with, I think, a band member of the legendary New York City band D Generation that Billy Idol was a part of. before Billy Idol then left D Generation and went solo on his own, to have his career catapulted by Bill Coyne, who was the man behind the catapulting of Kiss, who was one of the lifetime best friends of Lydia Criss, the ex-wife of the co-founding drummer of Kiss, who took me to the very building where Kiss was founded and formed in 1972, the Loft, the Kiss where John Lennon and Yoko Ono's former personal photographer took a photo of her then husband, Peter Criss, the Catman of Kiss, and his fellow Kiss bandmates at that very street lab in Chelsea. She took me there and then took a photo of me where the spaceman Ace Frehley of Kiss stood. We also were in front of the Hotel Chelsea together. She pointed and showed me where the Decca Records recording studio, basement recording studio was. Decca Records was the U.S. record label of the Rolling Stones during the classic Rolling Stone heyday of the 60s. And Peter Criss, before he became the third member of Kiss on drums, was in a band called Chelsea, like the neighborhood we were in, the Chelsea district. So, you know, there's just so much that's happened to me, so much linked to me, so much that I'm linked to now. It's astonishing. But again, in this time from late 1999 to early, it's astonishing. But again, in this time from late 1999 to early 2000 to June 2000, that was also the time, you'll see where I'm going with this. That was also the time that my girlfriend at the time, who left Bethesda, Maryland to come live with me, one day we went to the Dakota building. We got off at the West 72nd stop of Building 1, West 72nd Street. The building where John Lennon lost his life in front of his wife, Yoko Ono. The building where Rosemary's Baby was filmed and directed by Roman Polanski, who was engaged to Sharon Tate, and who Sharon Tate was carrying his 8-month-old son to be born inside of her. And at the time of John Lennon's death, Paul Simon was living there. I think Carrie Fisher, Princess Leia of Star Wars, was living with him, possibly in there. Lauren Bacall was living in there, and Roberta Flack was living in there. So what a lot of people don't know about Roberta Flack is she got her start at Mr. Henry's on Pennsylvania Avenue in D.C. She was the house singer at Mr. Henry's and got her record deal because she got discovered by a record label executive as the daily, nightly house singer and pianist inside of Mr. Henry's, Roberta Flack. Okay, so my ex-girlfriend and I, we get out the station. We go across the street to the John Lennon Strawberry Field Imagine Circle mosaic centerpiece. We're surrounded by tons of local visitors and tourists. So to end this video log, here we go. So my female partner, my girlfriend at the time, randomly pulls my shirt off of me in front of everyone, places it atop of the John Lennon Strawberry Field Imagine Circle, goes into her bag, zips it open. I remember it was on her shoulder with a shoulder strap, and pulls out a big black Magic marker drawing pen. And she draws a circle on the shirt that she placed on top of John Lennon's Imagine Circle. Then she's drawing lines. When she was done, it was a big black intergalactic cosmic spider web filled with a plethora of diamonds and stars galore by the legions. And in drip down the middle in black, it read, "A revolution of beauty." What's fascinating about that? She did that spring, summer 2000 AD. And here I am 23 years later. I'm now surrounded by 800 plus living stars and diamonds of pop history and culture of the last 100 plus years. How do you like that? It's as if though she predicted and forecasted my future in that drawing on top of my shirt. Now to end this video log. So years and years had passed by. I decided one day I no longer wanted to be in New York City. I was homesick. I wanted to come back to DuPont Circle, my neighborhood, come back to my city, I wanted to come back to my city, the District of Columbia. I wanted to come back to my city, my birth city, my city. The District of Columbia, Estrada. So I did. Okay. So long story short, I did something that, just the amount that I accomplished in those 6 to 7 months was astonishing. And I'm not even including everything. I even had the bassist of a band called The Rapture that at the time got a record deal with Motown Columbia when they were merged. He almost became my bass player out of New York City, New York. Just so much happened to me. I crossed paths on St. Mark's Place with the recording artist legend Bjork. And it just goes on and on and on. I found myself inside of CBGB's with no one around, with Hilly Crystal, I believe, the proprietor and owner or founder of CBGB's, behind the bar. And he allowed me to walk up on the very platform stage of CBGB's and to stand there and to peer the direction of the door. Okay. And of course, I stepped into the CBGB's bathroom. So here we are. So I just got up my stuff. I called the financial services director of MetLife Financial Services out of the MetLife building. And I said, I'm going to resign. I'm homesick and I'm heading back to my city. He said, oh, what a shame. I loved having you as my personal assistant. I wish you the best. I left, went back to DC. Many years had passed by. I'm about to wrap this up in just a matter of 60 seconds or less. Many years had passed by. And I called. I was going through numbers I had collected from New York City, New York. And I called someone by the name of Lazarus. He went by the name of Lazarus. His sidekick and best friend was Yoshi. And Lazarus was a part of the, I believe, the New York City, New York goth scene at the time. And Yoshi, his wife, was a big-time world-class visual artist. He took me to his wife's studio, and I couldn't believe the sheer size of the place, of the loft. It was astonishing, the size of her paintings. And I remember when he took me there, he said David Bowie lives in that apartment, in that building right down the street, right there on the corner. And David Bowie was still alive. And I learned of David Bowie's death from Lydia Criss, the ex-wife of the co-founding drummer of Kiss, the Catman Peter Criss, on the 11th of January, 2016, by text message, because I had just gotten back from New York City, New York, after leaving there in 2000. So when I left in 2000, when I left New York, I didn't even go back till January 2016. So anyway, I think it was a couple years ago. I'm not sure how long ago. I saw Lazarus. I called him. I said, Lazarus, what's up, man? It's me. And he goes, it's you. I said, yes. He said, man, what happened to you? You disappeared. Wait till you hear how this ends now. You disappeared from everybody's sight, man. Can you please not do that just for this last minute, please? Thank you. So Lazarus says to me on the phone, what happened to you? You still have my number. I'm living in New Jersey now. I have the same number, but I go back and forth to New York. What happened to you? You vanished. You went poof. Everyone around Washington Square Park and NYU and the Lower East Side and Alphabet City and Tompkins Square Park, everyone was asking what happened to the Magic Man of DC. And that's the end to this video log. I didn't know that in just 6 to 7 months' time, I had become a legend, kind of. Because people were asking in Alt.Cafe, Tompkins Square Park, Washington Square Park, Avenue A, what happened to the Magic Man? Where did he go? Because they never saw me again. Jorge Estrada, DCD, sir, mutatio formulae. One last note. Can you imagine if all of those wonderful, magical, eccentric souls of the Lower East Side of SOHO knew what I've done and where I'm at now eternally? You know what they would say? We always knew it. We always knew that the Magic Man would be where he's at now. And that's why we loved him. And we were blown away by him, even then, even that far back.